Hello dear, welcome to English Needs channel. In this video, I am going to give you 5 questions and answers picked up from the lesson Where There Is a Whale. Just listen, keep it in mind, go and write in the examination. And if you have not yet subscribed my channel, please subscribe. I need numbers. Please subscribe because you will be receiving many useful videos in the future. Thank you. So let's go on now. How did Sheila Rani Chunkath, the DC, promote the empowerment of women in Where There Is a Wheel? Pudukkottai had been a very backward district in Tamil Nadu. In early 90s, when Mr. Sheila Rani Chunkath was the DC, she concentrated on a literacy drive to make the rural women literate. Arivoli Ayakum was given the task. But there was a hitch. The volunteer girls found it difficult to reach remote areas. So, Sheila Rani introduced cycling as the solution. When the activists learned cycling, the neo-literates were motivated to take to cycling. The number grew beyond imagination. Cycling became a social movement and it started supporting the literacy drive. It became a symbol of freedom and mobility. Women's confidence was boosted. As cycling movement was Sheila Rani Chunkath's brainchild, she gave personal attention to its growth. It pushed banks to provide loans to women who wished to buy a bicycle. Many women were benefited economically, socially, and emotionally by cycling movement and literacy drive. This is how Mrs. Sheila Rani Chunkath promoted the empowerment of rural women. Question 2. What is the role of Arivoli Ayakum in liberating women? Arivoli Ayakum was a movement for the empowerment of rural women. When Mrs. Sheila Rani Chunkath was the DC of Pudukkottai district, she gave the task of literacy drive to the activists of Arivoli Ayakum. The women volunteers were encouraged to learn cycling and use a bicycle to solve the problem of reaching out to remote areas. The girls who were attending the literacy drive started taking interest in learning cycling. Arivoli volunteers encouraged every woman to learn cycling by training them free of charge. Many young women started coming to learn cycling. Arivoli added these women to literacy drive movement. And thus, Arivoli Ayakum was successful in making several rural women literates. Both cycling and literacy proved beneficial in the empowerment of women in rural Pudukkottai district. Cycling gave the women freedom, easy mobility, reduced their dependence on men, boosted their self-confidence, and made some of them economically strong. This is how Arivoli Ayakum was successful in liberating women. Question 3. Cycling as a social movement changed the lives of many rural women in Pudukkottai. Elaborate the statement. Or, what were the implications of cycling as a social movement in Pudukkottai district? In early 90s, women of Pudukkottai district chose cycling as the means to hit out at their backwardness. Later, it turned out to be a social movement. Cycling for them became a symbol of IMF, that is, independence, mobility, and freedom. There were some definite implications of this movement on the rural women. They are: the first point, economic implications. Many women vendors could carry more items because of bicycle. They could cover more areas than before. So, their business improved a lot. Consequently, the profit was more. Second point, personal implications. Many women felt happy to learn cycling. Independence, mobility, freedom, self confidence, and self respect are their new assets. They are on their way to become educated. They enjoy defying male domination. Third point, social implications. Involvement in cycling movement got the women many new friends. The social bond became stronger. They developed a sense of belongingness to Arivoli Ayakum that offered them to do social service. In what different ways does the cycle empower the rural women in Pudukkottai district? To empower a person, education is essential. Hence, empowerment of women in Pudukkottai district started with literacy drive. Lack of mobility was a hindrance in the way of spreading literacy in Pudukkottai district. This was overcome by the introduction of bicycle. Volunteers were trained in cycling and they in turn inspired scores of women to take to cycling. Secondly, bicycle reduced the women's dependence on men. Cycle made their mobility very easy. Thirdly, women vendors' economic condition improved and their leisure time increased. Fourthly, women's social life became better as they made more friends and they got an opportunity to mingle with many women. They got an opportunity to serve others. In these ways, bicycle empowered the women. Comment how cycling reduced the women's dependence on men in Where There Is a Wheel. For rural women in Pudukkottai district, pedaling a bicycle was a taboo. Women depended on men for their mobility. Women vendors moved about on foot. Yet no young woman mustered courage to pedal a bicycle. But a great change took place in early 90s. To strengthen literacy drive, Sheila Rani chunkath introduced cycling. Young women volunteers learned cycling. This encouraged the neo-literates and others to learn and use bicycle. This became a mass movement. Cycling became a metaphor for freedom. Women no longer beg men for their movements. Economic condition of many women vendors increased. These all led to reducing a woman's dependence on men. Now, women move about freely and defy men's domination. Thank you for watching this video, and here is the playlist that will give you many videos for better preparation for the examination. Here it is.